While Levi, Kakashi and Alucard come to mind whenever you think about cool anime characters, the world of anime also has its fair share of female stars who dominated their shows simply because of how freaking charismatic they were. I mean, she broke the internet whenever she did something crazy. So in today's video, we're going to check out the top 10 most badass female characters of all time. And I have to say, it was a rough job ranking them because all of them are just so damn special. Now, let's get on with it. We're starting off our list with arguably the most lethal assassin in the entire world. I'm talking about Chisato from Lycoris Recoil. Looking at this high school girl, you might be tempted to think that she's just like every other default female character in high school rom-com. But nothing can be farther from the truth than this. Despite her bubbly attitude and sweet personality, she is a trained killer who can not only take down dozens of enemies alone, but can do that without ever getting hit. Her skills with firearms are ridiculous, but her refusal to take a life only adds to her charm. She truly was a surprise even for hardcore anime fans like me who were tired of anime using cute girls as plot devices. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't mind watching cute girls do cute stuff, but there's a certain beauty to a girl going around beating the crap out of criminals, all the while teaching them a little bit of humanity.
Let up for a second! I put my life on the line!
Next up, we have Tsunade from Naruto Shippuden, who might just be the hottest and most blunt granny in all of anime. Now, I know she isn't technically a grandma, but that's just what Naruto calls her. And is she a badass or what? She's introduced to us as a degenerate drunk who's left the world of shinobi far behind. But we soon find out that she might just be the most dangerous person in the show. I mean, she has the strength of a monster who can shake the earth with bare fists. She also has insane chakra, which makes her the best healer in the anime and a legendary shinobi. Add to that her contribution as a Hokage, and you have a character who defined the very direction of the show. And if that wasn't enough, she made sure to leave a part of her behind by teaching Sakura, who soon becomes Tsunade 2.0. Naruto has introduced us to many badass characters over its long run, and to me, Tsunade is easily among the best of them.
Who? Don't make me laugh. When it's just us, the Colonel calls me by my first name, Riza.
So you two are that close, are you?
I lied.
We leave Naruto behind to check up on a character from another OG anime. I'm talking about Riza Hawkeye from Full Metal Alchemist. Now, FMA has no shortage of badass characters, but Riza, in my opinion, is just the best female character in the show, which is a surprise considering she can't use alchemy and didn't have any insane training like Chisato. What she does have, however, is the experience of war and all of its horrors. This is exactly why she's really strict morally and won't back down even in the face of certain death. There are many scenes where she faces homunculi without any fear, and one of my favourites is when she outsmarts Envy when she tries to pretend to be Riza's boss. One of the biggest reasons why FMA is such a great show is its insanely well written characters, and Riza Hawkeye is one of the best examples of that.
Now shut up and focus, Yukine!
At number 7, we have a deity on our list. I'm talking about the lion-riding goddess of combat, Bishamonten from Norigami. She is no ordinary goddess, mind you. Unlike our male protagonist Yato, Bishamonten is revered by millions of people, and she is considered to be the mightiest god of war. And it makes sense since she has so many weapons or regalia as they're known in the anime. And during her fights with Yato, you can see her come to life. Her hatred for our protagonist stems from the loss of her followers, and she is looking for vengeance. But despite her hardcore attitude, she's actually a sweetheart who just wants peace in the world. Norigami was already a really cool show, but without a doubt, Bishamonten made it way cooler. we leave the righteous goddess behind to check up on a character who is on the completely opposite end of the moral spectrum. I'm talking about Lucy from Elfenlied. This show came out all the way back in 2004 and shocked viewers with its horrifying imagery. Violent deaths and disturbing truths are really common here, and at the center of all of this bloodshed is Lucy, the main protagonist of the show. She's a mutation of mankind and has the ability to wield invisible hands that can rip people apart instantly. Now, Lucy didn't have a great childhood and was left at the mercy of other children at her orphanage who bullied her to the point of no return. This is when she lost her compassion for life and started her killing spree. As I've explained, she is an anti-hero and a bloodthirsty one, but somehow she forms a relationship with a sweet boy named Kuta. Over the course of the show, we watch as Lucy brings her wrath upon mankind. Her character goes through several phases and we are never sure what to think of her. She's evil, sure, but we also remember that she was pushed into madness by the world. What I really remember from this anime is her cold stare, which made her the scariest character I've ever known.
Kill 'em all, baby!
After Lucy, we're gonna check out another anti-hero whose actions divided viewers like nothing before. Her name is Revi, and she is the female protagonist from the 2006 classic Black Lagoon. Now, the craziest thing about Revi is that she shines as the most ruthless and cold killer in an anime that's known for its blood and gore. She is insensitive and doesn't give a damn about anyone's beliefs or morals. Her own ideals are so twisted that we often find her taking out people with no remorse whatsoever. But that's not all there is to her. She's got this destructive charm to her where she lives without a care in the world and likes to talk about all sorts of things the moment she gets drunk. At times, she might even pass as any other shonen character, but the moment she picks up her guns, you realize that she's unlike any character you've ever seen. She's a badass through and through, but the evil running through her veins doesn't allow her to reach her full potential. Next up, we have Kiss Shot from the Monogatari series at number 4 on our list. Now, she's just as bloodthirsty as any anti-hero on this list, but she's got class, and the more you learn about her, the more you realize that she doesn't really like hurting others. I mean, she's a mythical vampire who's lived for centuries and needs blood to stay alive, but she takes no pleasure in this existence, which becomes clear during the Kizu Monogatari film series. And it is this film series where she really shines. The way she interacts with Araragi and the people around him is a treat to watch. And with her every word, she reminds us that she's like a god amongst men. She also knows how to kick ass, and her fight with Araragi is one of the best anime fights of all time. But even with this intimidating personality, it's easy to see that she's a wise being who understands the problems faced by Araragi. This is exactly why when things go really south, she's the only one who stands beside him. Moving on from vampires, we check up on the greatest cyborg of all time. Yep, you guessed it, I'm talking about Major Motoko Kasunagi from the Ghost in the Shell franchise. Ever since the 1995 film, Kasunagi has been among the most badass characters, male or female. She leads the Section 9 task force, which is responsible for keeping the peace in this cyberpunk version of Japan. Being a cyborg isn't easy, and Kasunagi knows it all too well, but she's driven by her morals and won't let anyone take her down. The very fact that Ghost in the Shell has become a global franchise should make it obvious how good this story is. But if you're still not sold, just watch Kasunagi in action and you'll realize why she's such a badass. Her fight against Raizo in Ghost of the Shell Arise is one of the greatest fight scenes in anime. And even in that highly unfair matchup, Kasunagi manages to win by the sheer weight of her will and insight. Moving on from our favourite cyborg, we go to the greatest and most feared knight in the history of mankind. I'm talking about Saber, the young girl behind the tale of King Arthur himself. The most popular character from the Fate series, Saber truly became an anime icon after Fate Zero. Now, even if you haven't heard of her name before, I'm sure you've come across some of her clips. After all, she's given us, in my opinion, two of the greatest anime battles of all time. In fact, she's been part of more historic battles than any other character in anime, and all these fights show us a different side of her. We see her when she's brimming with confidence, and we also watch her when she's fighting at her limit. We've witnessed her righteous side in Fate Zero, and we've also seen how absolutely horrifying she can be in the Heaven's Feel saga. And each and every time she's in a fight, you can't help but hold your breath. Her moves, her dialogues, and even the god tier animation given to her by Ufotable make her truly a pinnacle of charisma. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just watch her fight against Berserk and you'll know why she deserves a spot on our list. Now, before we talk about the number one character on our list, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also hit that subscribe button to watch more videos like this one. And finally, we come to the most badass female character in all of anime, and Mikasa from Attack on Titan takes this spot with grace. Now, Attack on Titan has some of the coolest characters of all time, and many of them are female, but Mikasa is just on another level. Her calm and composed outer shell gives you hope even during some of the darkest moments in the show. But she isn't just a confident character. With a sword in her hand, she becomes a demon who can take down dozens of titans all alone. It's frightening how good she is at slicing down these monsters. And her strength comes from her will to save our protagonist Eren, who clearly wouldn't have survived without her. I was really conflicted while choosing between Mikasa and Saber for the top spot, but after watching Mikasa grow as the show progresses, I have to say she deserves it more. She didn't have the God-given gifts of Saber, she had to work for them. Her character is also way more complex than Saber's, which only makes her more interesting. And yes, she might not be involved in as many gorgeous battles as Saber, but whenever she gets mad, you see her become a sign of terror for her enemies. And that brings an end to today's video. Do you guys agree with my list? Share your thoughts and suggestions with me in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you at the next one.